Good morning. Welcome to As Goes Wisconsin. 11:06. Greg Bach is on the board. Coming up at 11:30, we're going to talk about kidults. I know, Greg, how you love that term.
Kidults.
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 Uh,
Kidults.
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 Adults playing with toys, and I'm curious what toys you like to play with. So we're gonna kick that around. Coming up at 11:30. Stay tuned for that. But right now, joining us on the phone, I'm very excited. She is Civic Media's meteorologist and has arguably one of the best names in radio, Brittney Merlot. Good morning, Brittney. How you doing?
Hello. I'm fantastic. How are you?
We are great, thank you. And hopefully, you are going to tell us now how we're going to have a nice, warmer than average winter, and everything is going to be peachy, and it's going to be nice by the end of March.
Oh, I love this. Everybody sets me up like that.
Because we are going to see there is an El Nino climate pattern for this winter, right? And we haven't seen one in about 4 years. So what does that actually mean, Brittney?
Correct. El Nino is purring out there in the Pacific Ocean right now. So what that means is basically, you ever heard trade winds?
Sure.
They're along the equator. They're the easterly winds. Well, an El Nino forms when they're not very strong. Usually they're pretty strong. So they'll push this warm water off the coast of South Africa, and it'll push it away from the coast. That's your typical winter. Well, it's not happening. Now there's an El Nino. So the winds are weakening. They're sometimes even going backwards, which is why everybody's talking about this strong El Nino that's possible. And so what that means is the warm water is just going to be sitting off the coast of South Africa, closer to us in the Pacific Ocean. And as it does so, that warm water causes air above it to warm, rise, create precipitation, and that's going to shift the atmospheric circulation patterns across the world. So, of course, that affects us in Wisconsin slightly.
Yes, slightly. Well, we are part of the globe. So, yes. And so, does it mean a warmer than average winter? But that tends to make me think that we're going to have more snow then.
Ooh, see, I like your thinking. You're one of the first to say that. So, usually, if you have warmer temperatures, you get the wetter, bigger snowflakes, right?
Right.
If it's really, really cold, you get those dry, light, smaller ones, and you don't get as much snow. Well, yeah. So what's going on? One, you've got the warming climate, right? So we've already seen anywhere from 1 to 5 degrees warmer temperatures each year. And then you put El Nino and a strong El Nino on top of it, which usually takes our temperatures about 1 to 3 degrees warmer. And then you've got that. So what we're usually seeing is the warmer temperatures where our overnight lows are. So it's not like we're going to get this warm spell of 60s in December or anything like that. Don't think that. I wish, right?
Right.
That would be nice. But no, I mean, we're still going to get our winter. What this means for us is the patterns, the jet streams are going to shift a little bit. So for December, January, February as a whole, it's looking like the Pacific jet stream is going to be lifted. So it's going to bring warmer air to us more often. And it's also going to take the precipitation, the low pressures, the whole pattern of where they go and strike and move it a little bit further north. What that means is it holds the cold snaps up in Canada. So that's how we're going to stay warmer. We won't see as many cold snaps and they won't last as long, but they're still going to happen because it's not just El Nino that we all look at. We also look at an Arctic oscillation, and that changes daily, monthly, seasonally. I mean, it's changing right now, actually.
Wow.
We're going to get a huge warm up this week, and then we're going to plummet down and maybe even see our first snowfall into the northern parts of Wisconsin by the weekend. So you can see how that changes. It allows a little dip in the jet streams on occasion. But what El Nino does is hold the pattern overall warmer, drier for longer. So, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's one of the hardest things to really break down. To be honest.
Need a chart. You need to have a chart so you can draw illustrations. The Brittney Merlot is our guest. She is the meteorologist for Civic Media. Delighted to have her on the show, and we're talking about this winter and how the El Nino is going to affect us. I'm always concerned, Brittney, again, when it's a little bit warmer, like you said, that's when we have what I would call the heart attack snow. It's like concrete.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much moisture in it. You know, it's a pain in the neck when it's really cold and you have to shovel, but that stuff you can blow away.
Exactly.
Compared to that heavy wet stuff, right?
You.
So is that what we can expect, though? More of that heavy wet stuff?
Yep, more heavy wet stuff, more of the earlier season storms. You know how like we get one or two ice storms and then we transition to snow, 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 snow. I think we're going to see more wintry mix, rain turning over to snow late at night, giving you that ice out there, flipping over to snow, then back to rain. I think we're going to see more of those for the first part of the season, and then we'll start to come out into those earlier in March. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not as long of a snowy season. So
But that can be,
that's what I'm thinking. But our average, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's going to make it tricky. That's when conditions, again, driving in snow is bad enough, but when you go from snow to sleet and then you warm up enough and then you freeze and then it becomes black ice. And I would almost rather,
Oh, it's the worst.
right? I would almost rather get smacked just
Hmm.
with a snowstorm
What?
instead of doing all that back and forth. It just makes it worse.
Why do we live here? Why?
Because the summers are beautiful
Okay.
and the falls.
I enjoy, I also enjoy the winters. I would much rather have so much more snow. I'd rather have half the year winter, but you know, I know I'm not everybody.
But it's just part of it. And snowfall is also important as far as drought conditions go. Where is Wisconsin as far as drought goes?
Oh, last I looked, we were out of the extreme drought. Let me pull that up right now. But good chunk of the state was still in about 68%. Let me get that update for you right now, though. Yeah, 68%, still in a drought. Only 3% in extreme drought still. So
That's
we're
real.
getting there, and we've got a lot of rain headed our way this weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, because the rain's going to start like wet tomorrow.
Even today, for a lot of us, yeah.
I don't know why. It's like, blah.
Well, hey, you want here? Listen to this. I'm
Okay.
gonna use the S word. They're looking at snow accumulation throughout north central Wisconsin as soon as Saturday and Sunday. So before Halloween, we
Oh
could
my
see
good.
some snow starting to fall in the state. Isn't that wild?
It-
Already.
It really is. Although looking back to when I was growing up, and I'm considerably older than you, Brittany, and I'm older than Greg as well. We used to get snow before Halloween. I can remember very clearly having to cover up my princess outfit with a winter jacket
She had to bring the horses into the stable and
When-
cover the wagon.
when we were going trick or treating because winters
Yeah.
used to start earlier than they do now.
Isn't that crazy?
It
So now you can just see that the warming climate, the El Nino on top of it, it's just going to be nothing like those old winters.
Oh no, and that's what
unfortunately.
people complain about all the time. Like back in my day, there was real winter. It's like I don't know what real winter means, but I'm kind of happy that I don't have to shovel in September.
Well, yes, that's true. And it's also good news that we don't have to worry about any polar vortexes, do we? Because we went through that a couple of years ago, and I was working at a different radio station, and they would send me out on stories. Go talk to someone. It's 30 below zero. Everything is closed.
What do you think? It's cold.
It's cold. Why are you outside? You're insane. So no polar vortexes.
Oh, we're going to get one. We're going to get one or two for sure.
We
It
were
won't last as long this year, but we're going to get them.
seriously.
Yep. That's all.
You should
depends
see
on that
Jane's
Arctic
face right
oscillation that I
now,
was talking
Brittany.
about. I'm sorry. They'll be shorter. I think they'll be much shorter than what we've been. It's not going to be a 2-week deep freeze. I think it'll be a couple days at a time and snap back up to some average temperatures. So
Well, and
it'll be a mild winter.
a mild winter with a couple polar vortexes.
Just a couple.
And an El
couple
Niño running
snowstorms,
around.
A couple ice storms. El Nino on the loose.
But Brittany, isn't this
Just
why?
wild Wisconsin weather.
Right, but isn't that one of the reasons why you like being a meteorologist in Wisconsin? Because I've talked to numerous meteorologists over the years. The most boring job for you people would be like being somewhere where it's perfect all the time.
Oh, I'd be so bored in California.
Right?
I mean, I'll never leave Wisconsin. I love all these seasons, the extremes we get. I mean, people talk about us all across the country. I like it. I'm proud.
Yeah, I've often felt, Hawaii would be like a death knoll for a meteorologist. San Diego, what fun is that?
It's 72 again.
Retirement.
And sunny again.
I remember running into a family from Atlanta, and they had no idea. They thought that we were like warm and very cold in Wisconsin, and I told them no. With like in the later summer months, we get like high temperatures, high humidity, like, and we get very, very, very cold. Like, we get the extremes of all of the seasons, with the exception of spring. We never get spring anymore.
Yeah, we don't get much of a spring.
No, we don't. I don't like spring anyways. It's not my favorite. It's just like a wet, muddy, snow melt kind of season. You can't go on the trails. You can't play in the snow. There's no sun. But, you know.
Well,
Brittney Merlot here with her hatred of spring.
Anti-spring meteorologist Brittney Merlot.
Canceled.
And we only got 2 minutes left, Brittney, but I have to ask you this. How many barometers do you own?
Jeez, Jane.
That's the first thing she's ever asked me. When I first met you, you're like, how many?
Brittney.
It's a meteorologist thing.
Tell us the truth.
It is. I've got 4. I've got 4 in my house right now.
That's not terrible.
I scaled down.
You scaled down?
Yeah.
How many did you used to have?
I give them as gifts now.
Are you re-gifting me a barometer, Brittney?
So we're down
yes,
to 4. That sounds manageable.
Yes. You got to have them. There's different kinds. You got to have them everywhere.
Okay. Well, now we know what
you have.
I don't have a barometer.
See, this is where I can gift another one.
Brittney Merlot is our meteorologist for the Civic Media Network. Brittney, thank you so very much to join us today to talk about what's coming our way. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Stay with us. We're coming up against the break. We will be right back. You're listening to As Goes Wisconsin. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. Jane Matnair in for Kristen Bry. Greg Bach is on the board, and you can always check in with us. Call or text at 844-967-2789. 844-96-PARTY. You just had Brittney Merlot on. She's the meteorologist for the Civic Media Radio Network, talking about the El Niño that is coming our way for this winter and what that's going to mean and what that's going to do. 262 says, Jane, just a couple of years ago, we did get 5 inches of snow on Halloween. It sucked. I don't remember that.
We push out all trauma, don't we?
Seriously,
Do
though.
you remember a couple of years ago when we had a 70 degree week in February? It was like 2018 or 2019. It was really weird. Like February, just the middle of the month, 70 degrees, and then it stopped.
Yeah. And then it stopped.
Yeah.
That's called the teaser week. And then it goes back to the regular February weather, which is what makes it last so long. It's just interminable. Another texter from the 541 says, meteorologists in Hawaii and in the southern U.S. only get paid for 1 day a year. That's when they record their forecast to be replayed every day for the next 364.
Are they hiring? I'll do that. It's nice.
It's nice.
It's kind of nice. It's going to rain a little bit. All right, I'm out.
Yeah, sunny and 72. Have a good day.
I mean,
thanks for joining us.
I got to say, Civic Media is lucky to have Brittney Merlot. She's funny.
She is funny.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have her back on.
Me too. And we'll have to do a barometer check because honest to God, Greg, every meteorologist I have ever known has a barometer collection.
I mean, that was I guess it made sense once you asked it, but I was like, huh?
It's her thing.
Yeah.
It's their thing.
Yeah.
And we've all got our things.
And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. What
Kidults.
Yeah, I feel like this is you're just setting me up to look like a fool.
No, I'm really excited about this actually,
All right, okay.
and I am somewhat, now that I know how many sets of this thing that you have, I might want to borrow one.
All right, okay.
For a couple of hours of entertainment.
You'll get plenty.
Will I get hooked? Do you think?
I don't think so. I think you'll like it, and then.
One and done?
Maybe one and done, maybe a couple, but not what I did.
Okay.
Not what happened to me.
All right.
So.
Well, we got a couple of minutes before the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to move on to, again, the Kidults and what toys you as an adult enjoy collecting and or interacting with. But in the interim, we talk about this all the time, how the two parties tend to be very different when it comes to holding members of their own accountable. Today, New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez was scheduled to be arraigned on new charges accusing him of violating a prohibition on members of Congress from acting as an agent of a foreign principal, where he is expected to be to plead not guilty. But he is in court and he has been charged and he has made pleas. Whereas we have George Santos, the Republican from New York,
Mm-hmm.
who has essentially lied about everything. His resume is made up. His family history was made up.
Goes by a couple names.
Yeah, a couple aliases.
Mhm.
Accused of stealing from someone overseas.
His campaign is apparently charging credit cards without notice.
Yes, donors' credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, this guy would have been great in the 19th century.
He seems to be doing pretty great right
Yeah,
now.
It's true, I guess. Yeah.
And no one is calling for him to step down, as opposed to when this news broke about Menendez in New Jersey and the gold bars and the $640,000 in cash that was found in his home. There were Democrats who were like, you should resign.
Immediately, too.
Yes.
Immediately.
And again, then we have George Santos, who's still out there. There's an article in Mother Jones. He was apparently speaking to this Mother Jones reporter and claimed at one point that the Chinese Communist Party is watching him so closely because he speaks out against them all the time. So they tried to retaliate by kidnapping his niece. He told this to a reporter at Mother Jones, that she was at a playground and she disappeared. And 40 minutes later, she was found with two men of Chinese origin, and they kidnapped her to threaten me. And so the reporter called the police, who said they investigated, and this essentially did not happen.
Oh, what?
I know.
What?
I know.
Jane, are you saying that Mr. Santos lied again?
I have a feeling this might have been a falsehood, Greg, which again, I know you find shocking.
Was it pure fibbery?
Pure fibbery. I believe it was pure
Pure
fibbery.
fibbery.
Yeah, I believe it was pure fibbery. But again, no calls for him to step down. No, it's, and I do believe in due process. I hope Senator Menendez goes through due process. He gets to have a trial, and a jury of his peers will determine whether or not he committed these crimes. But that's called accountability.
Yeah.
That's called expecting members of your own party who behave badly to be held to account for that bad behavior.
And I guess the question I'll always have is, how did the GOP escape accountability every time? And yet, if a Democrat sneezes the wrong way, they'll lose their minds and just and get traction and get news and get headlines. I don't understand it.
Well, we're coming up against the break. Stay with us. We want to know what you're playing with when we come back.
Oh my God. God, Jane.
844-967-2789. This is As Goes Wisconsin. You're listening on the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. Jane Matnair in for Kristen Bry. Greg Bach is on the board, and we are always open to taking your calls and your texts at 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. Just a reminder, Kristen is joining us now from home with the baby on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 11.
The baby that I got to hold.
I got to hold her too.
I wasn't an announcement of that wasn't towards you, Jane.
Okay.
I was excited. Wow. Okay.
And she said you were a natural.
Yeah, because I'm
She
great
did.
with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Very cool. So anyway, if you want to see little Frankie Lou, little Francis, you want to make sure and join us on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 11 o'clock when Kristen joins us while she's on maternity leave.
Yep.
So great article in Axios that actually she had pointed out. Toy makers, Greg, are tweaking products to cater to the tastes of adults.
It's about time.
From Gen Z to senior citizens. So for the last several years, and this is the first time I've heard of this term, Kidult.
I hate this term. It's the first time I've never heard this term before, and I find it dumb.
Kidults are teenagers and adults who like cartoons, action figures, board games, building sets, and puzzles, and are driving and have been driving global toy sales. Now, I know while we were in lockdown under
Yeah.
COVID, a lot of people were buying jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
You couldn't even find jigsaw puzzles
Yeah.
because so many people were snapping them up.
Yeah. I didn't do
That's
that.
not your thing?
Not my thing.
You're not, but you do have a thing.
I do have a thing.
What-
Another kind of puzzle.
What's your thing?
A puzzle from a Nordic land, a Scandinavian land. I'm a adult fan of Lego, an AFOL.
And it's Lego only. There is no S.
If you say Legos, I swear this show is over. I'm burning this studio to the ground, and I will not be held responsible for my actions.
Because there's no plural.
There's no plural. It's just Lego.
Okay,
Don't make that face at me.
it's pretty harsh there, Mr. Bach.
I'm only upholding the rules. I didn't make them up.
All right.
Take it up with the Lego Corporation.
Lego has an Icons series of products aimed at adults.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is $680.
That is the Titanic.
It's $680.
It's amazing. It's huge. It's awesome.
How big is that thing?
It's almost as big as the real thing.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's a very large set. They got various football fields, so like soccer fields, European soccer fields. They have the Parthenon, I believe they have now.
Wow.
I mean, their sets get real crazy. I mean, I don't have anything of that size yet. You want to do that, you want to display it. Like my biggest set is probably the typewriter that I still actually haven't put together yet, because I got it when we had moved. So I actually have a bunch of unopened sets in box. I probably have about 10 or 12 sets that are unopened versus the 40 that I've already done.
Wow.
Yeah, I got into it in lockdown. I was bored, and my friend Mike Hover, who's a terrific, amazing comedian from Chicago, said, he's like, "You want to just get on Instagram Live and build some sets?" And I was like, that sounds amazing. So, it started for me real small. Like my sets were all like 300, 400 pieces, took about 20, 25 minutes to put together.
Okay.
And we'd sit there and talk. And if you wanted to watch us, you could, but no one watched us.
No one was watching the Instagram Live of watch Greg and his friend play with Lego?
No, no one cared. But it was fun for me. And then I just started to get more and more into it. And I started buying more and more sets, and I put together some pretty cool ones too. Like I've done the International Space Station. That's a really fun one.
Wow.
The James Bond Aston Martin car, and my favorite's the White House. I did the White House on Joe Biden's inauguration day.
Did you finish it all in one day?
Oh yeah, I finished that one in a day.
And so now are they displayed all over your house?
Not at the moment. We're so lazy. They're in boxes right now, and they will be displayed eventually. But yeah, the car, the ISS, and the White House are the three that were really fun to put together because they just look amazing.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
And how many hours?
So when I used to put them together in one sitting, and that would be like anywhere between 3 to 5 hours. But what I started to do is I started to break it up into an hour long. So in the morning before work, I'd get up, I had my station, I build for 1 hour, and that's it. And then usually it took me anywhere between 4 to 5 days at 1 hour a piece.
Okay.
Because also, especially with the White House, lots of tiny pieces, and they will irritate your fingers.
I bet.
Yeah, so
because my brother had a set when we were kids. But again, this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Before they did any of the fancy sets.
They've always done sets.
Have they?
Yeah,
It just seems like they've gotten so much more sophisticated.
Oh,
now.
yes. Yeah, because I mean, they have people, if you go to their Lego club, you can see people submitting their own sets to the company, and the company will then okay them and then put them out.
That's cool.
It's very, very, very cool. But Lego has always done sets, and it used to be very town-based.
Okay.
It's a city fire department.
Right.
And,
yes.
that kind
that
of.
I remember.
But
yes.
in the past, like 10, 15 years, with all of their licensing agreements, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel, I don't know if they have DC, but like you can. I mean, you can also get into a very, very like these cars that are called techniques that have far more in them than a regular Lego set. I mean, my friend built a technique car and he goes, it was the most interesting build that I hated all the way through.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. But I don't like being called a kidult. I'm an adult who likes to play with these things or do these things. I feel like that's insulting.
I would agree with you. And it's almost like, I mean, isn't being a crafter kind of playing with things too?
I mean, that's the thing is I'm putting together a piece of art that someone put together, and just because it's, some people see it as aimed towards children. I don't know. I think if you enjoy it, go for it, and you shouldn't let anyone give you that title. Like, I don't call myself a kidult. That's one thing. That's not a word, and never let it be a word. Like Legos is not a word, but
as we've learned,
yes, I'm very, very specific. But it's just I don't know. I feel like we should be celebrating the art of play, and we should be embracing it.
Yeah.
And by throwing a label on there, you're like making it seem almost like funny then.
You're like toy shaming them.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. I mean, people make fortunes off these things. They buy them, they put them away, they sell them 10 years, 15 years down the road. They make a lot of money. They put them together. They're in their homes as pieces of art, and they are art. Someone designed them from top to bottom. And that's my job or the other person's job, if this is your thing, of putting together and doing what you want with it. My friend Caitlin, who works with me at the club, she puts her sets together, leaves them out for like 5-6 days, takes them apart, puts them in bags, gives them to her nephews.
Oh, that's sweet.
So we all have a use for them, and let's just be accepting of that.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. What do you like to play with? Or do you have Lego? Do you have puzzles? I know that there's a lot of people who I believe are collecting Barbie movie related things now.
I mean, the same thing with Star Wars memorabilia. Like people have their things, and I would just say this: as long as it doesn't make you go broke or destroy relationships, do it. Be happy and be fun.
Well, there are far, far worse obsessions to have.
Yeah.
Than building, toy model sets and things like that. That's not such a bad way to kill some time.
Do you have anything like this?
I've been trying to think about it. I don't. I mean, again, I would effort a Lego set if it wasn't too big.
All right.
It's got to. I don't want to overshoot.
All right.
The first time around,
folks. All right, we're gonna do this right now. We'll do a little interview with you. So let's say, what do you want to say? Like a 500 piece capacity? Do you want 1,000?
I think 500 is a good place to start.
Do you want something that's branded, like a Harry Potter thing or a Marvel thing?
I would lean more Harry Potter.
More Harry Potter. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Because I know people who know people, and I've got gift cards. I got gift cards. So all right.
I know you hate kidults.
I don't hate kidults. I hate the term.
You're gonna hate these terms too. Rejuvenials and adult essence.
What?
Adult essence.
That sounds like
important marketing category beyond toys.
Adult essence sounds like a 24-hour store on the freeway.
They had a toy fair in New York City. They do this apparently every year, where they're now more companies are displaying their eldertainment wares.
Not everything needs a word.
These include animatronic companion dogs and cats.
Okay.
I've seen those.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great idea for seniors who can't have pets.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of adorable. I don't know that I would call it a toy.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
It's more of it's a companion.
Yeah. But also it's not considered, is it considered a toy fair, or is it considered just
It's a toy fair.
Okay, well.
They also planning updated versions of the Game of Life, Scrabble, and Trivial Pursuit with easy to grasp pieces and bigger fonts. The Game of Life is the most boring game in the world.
So is life sometimes, the real game of life, Jane.
And we played it as kids.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it was the spinny thing. Yes.
Yeah, that was the only thing.
That was the high point of that game.
We played Sorry a lot in my family. it's an easier game, simple pop-o-matic bubble,
Right.
that kind of thing.
But I don't think we ever finished the Game of Life.
Do you know what oh no, we never do until we're dead. I think that you would very much enjoy, and I think it's already happened this year, but the Brick World convention. It's a Lego convention,
Okay.
and you get to see individuals who have built cityscapes. I mean, this is not just like, all right, get the box, open it up, look at the instructions.
Right.
This takes, in my opinion, genius to put together and craft and create these cities that could fit inside our studio rooms.
Wow.
I mean, there was one I saw where he rebuilt all the I almost said Andrew Lloyd Webber, Frank Lloyd Wright houses.
Oh, cool.
I mean, like, it is that deep in the details.
But these people must be engineers then.
I mean, I don't know what they are, but they're pretty cool people. They make some fun stuff.
And when is this convention?
It's usually, I think, late summer. So maybe next year it's our own fact-finding mission.
Yes.
Live from Brick World.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah. That could be doable.
And apparently, folks, are you not playing with anything? Because you can call us and tell us.
41% of parents, according to a survey by the Toy Association, 41% of parents have bought toys for themselves in the last year.
We got a comment on the live stream from Sarah. I currently collect Funko Pop. I got some of those. Those are really fun. Everything from Joan Jett and Cyndi Lauper to the show that rhymes with Bits Creek. I'm not to say that on the air. And The Witcher, Ruth Bader Ginsburg too. Those are wonderful. Funko Pops are fantastic.
I don't know what that is.
It's you see Sarah's little icon there?
Yes.
That's what the Funko Pops look like.
Is it an actual doll?
It's just a little doll. It's plastic. Doesn't really do anything other than just looks cute and is awesome. And people collect them crazily.
Is it kind of like a Beanie Baby crazy?
Yeah, they're better.
Because that did not turn out well for all those people who thought that they were going to retire on their Beanie Baby.
I made money on it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You made money on Beanie Babies?
I did. A lot of money.
How many did you have?
I used to work at a place that had them, that sold them. I didn't steal them. I bought them.
But you had the inside track.
I had the inside track.
Oh.
And I made money.
Oh, well. Little entrepreneur over here.
That's right.
All right. One more break to go. Stay with us. You're listening to As Goes Wisconsin. We are on the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. Jane Matnair in for Kristen Bryant. Greg Bach is on the board, and you can always chime in, call or text at 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY, talking about this article in Axios and about toys that are aimed at adults. Eldertainment, which Greg hates. Kidults.
Ugh.
Don't like that one either. But we were talking about Lego. See, I stopped myself. I said it correctly.
You did, and I appreciate the respect you have for my love.
and asking you what toys do you play with? 844-967-2789 from the 920. As a kid, I was a serious collector of football cards. Then I got out of it for quite a few years. But now my two daughters are actually showing some interest in card collecting, so it looks like I'm taking up the hobby again. But collecting cards of all types is actually somewhat big business. Oh, absolutely. Kristen's husband does.
Yep.
Does cards.
Yep.
He does sports cards.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Again, I always knew was a thing, but I guess I just did not appreciate how big.
Yeah, until you see like, oh wow, I missed the boat.
Texture sent in from the 262. It is a link for the London skyline, for a Lego set for the London skyline.
That's a beautiful one. That's a beautiful one.
I bet.
There's a London one. There is, I think there's a Dubai one. New York. They got a bunch of them. They're beautiful.
Cool.
And the ones that aren't official are super cool. Usually, like someone just did Dante's Levels of Hell. I'll show it to you later. It's amazing.
That's remarkable. And is this all on Instagram?
It's Instagram, the internet, people just making sets for whatever they want to do.
Making up their own.
Correct.
Because I saw one over the weekend, and it's got to be 5 feet high.
Yeah.
And at least 3 feet wide. And it's a Rolex.
Yeah.
Made out of Lego.
Mm-hmm.
It's astonishing.
Yeah. Really cool.
It is. It's just
It's
remarkable.
also very therapeutic. I forgot to mention before. It's very therapeutic.
Except for the finger injuries.
Well, you get used to those.
Do you develop Lego calluses?
Lego callus.
Lego says.
Legosis.
Legosis.
I have legosis. No, sir, you have legoso.
You have Legoso. I'm so sorry. Lynn from Oconomowoc. My daughter assembles wooden moving puzzles.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And I play Word Trip on my phone, which is negatively affecting my eyesight. And the Lego Titanic from the 541. The Lego Titanic is 18 inches tall, 7 inches wide, 54 inches long.
Yep.
Bigger than Frankie.
Way bigger. You can fit like 5 Frankies in
Oh
the
my
Lego
gosh.
Titanic.
And maybe we just need to stop thinking of toys as only for toddlers.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is. I mean, and I don't know, there's a way of yeah, that's the thing is like if someone does woodworking, I'm that's to me, I'm like, that's great. Does it? I don't think of them as any more of an adult than someone who's like, oh, I build Lego and it's in my basement. I got a great collection. It's like,
Right.
no, that's your hobby. It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. It's a craft.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Okay. Couple other things we want to get to before we have to wrap it up here and turn things over to the Todd Alba Show.
You mean bring him back?
Bring him back at noon. Associated Press reporting that guard dog Bobby of Portugal sadly passed away over the weekend in a veterinary hospital. He was 31.
Man, why you gotta bring me down?
He had a great life. Are you kidding?
I know, but I'm looking at getting a dog, and
That's a 31-year-old dog is 217 years in human years.
Whoa.
31 is in.
I think that's the other way. I think that's the other way around. 231 in human years. That's an old dog.
That's an old dog. 31. I mean, my dog Pierce was 18 and a half.
Yeah.
And that was pretty old. But to make it to 31 is just remarkable. His owner says Bobby's secret to a long life was good food, fresh air, and lots of love. Bobby eats what we eat. He had never been put on a leash.
Wow.
So Bobby took over from the previously world's oldest dog, Bluey, an Australian cattle dog who died in 1939 at the age of 29. And he held that record for almost a century. So whoever is going to be coming up behind Bobby has really got their work cut out for him.
Bobby, we give you a 21 bark salute.
Oh, absolutely.
Woof, woof, woof.
Woof. And we wanted to talk about blood.
Yes, we love blood here at the show. Blood.
We're pro blood. We're pro donating blood.
Sorry, I read that wrong.
Yes. You're donating today.
No, next week. Next week I donate. Next Tuesday I give my dual red donation, which is a very important one. It's not like a whole blood donation. They actually, you sit down for, it's not like platelets, but you do sit down for a while. They take out whole red cells, and they use it for what they need. So I'm going to say what I said last time when we were doing the campaign. If you are available to donate, if you are an eligible donor, it would take one donation from every eligible donor in this country a year. One donation a year.
Just one.
And we would never have a shortage again. That's what we're looking at right now. So if you can donate, do it. I mean, and here's the thing is, you're not getting paid, you're donating. But, sometimes they have fun prizes.
They have snacks.
They have snacks. They have juices. They have string cheese. Sometimes they have T-shirts and water bottles, but you're not doing it for that. Do it because people need it. So if you can donate blood, please, please, please do it.
I don't know that I've ever heard that statistic before.
They told me that last time I was there, and it blew my mind.
Well, that's really something to think about. Yeah. Again, if every person who is eligible to donate in this country just did a donation once a year, we would never have a shortage of blood.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to have to call now and make my appointment.
There you go.
Because, and I understand people's fear of needles. These people are so good.
Yeah.
They really are. Their phlebotomists are so good. You will never know that it even happened.
You're going to turn your head. You're going to look away for a moment. You're going to look in there. It isn't there. And if you're just donating a whole pint, a pint of whole blood, you're going to be in and out in less than an hour.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have the time. You have the time.
You can make the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, coming up tomorrow, Dan Schaefer will be here from 10:30 to 11 o'clock as
Yay!
we recombobulate. I highly encourage you to subscribe to the recombobulation area. And my guest host for Tuesday, Dominic Salvia from Devil's Advocates. So I hope you can join us tomorrow morning starting at 10 o'clock. Stay close. The Todd Alba Show debuting at noon. That's on the way next right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.